Hey everyone, this is Michael for Spirit Comics. Welcome, true readers, to another review. This is Wonder Woman number 32, Children of the Gods, Part 2, and it says here on the cover, The Treasures of Hercules. Now, in the previous issue, Wonder Woman was approached by a lawyer who looked like he was somebody out of the 1800s, saying that she inherited the estate of Hercules because and the reason was because he had been killed by Grail, some unknown character that I'd never heard of before in my life, who is apparently part Amazon and also the daughter of Darkseid. I don't even want to know how that came about, because that would involve, something like Hera having sex with Darkseid or something, or some weird type of magic. Anyways, this cover is really horrible. Look at this headdress on her. This bear headdress. It is horrible. The coloring isn't bad, but I mean, the notion of Wonder Woman wearing a headdress alone is just laughable. And then there's, I guess these are the treasures of Hercules, and all these must be, stuff he had in his home or whatever. All these snakes and weird creatures. Anyway, we get into the story here, and it's Steve Trevor and his crew. They're backing it. They're following Wonder Woman because she's engaged some parademons. And if you know anything about parademons, they are the soldiers of Darkseid from Apocalypse. And just a little backstory from the previous issue, Darkseid is a child now. So his daughter, Grail, in the previous issue, killed Hercules to get the powers of Zeus in order to replenish Darkseid and make him, big, strong, and her father again. But now she's, older than he is. So anyway, the opening art here, it's kind of cool. I mean, you have Steve Trevor looking over here at all these skulls that are mounted up on top of each other, and I'm not even going to go through the dialogue between him and his troops. But then we're presented with this kind of cool splash page, Wonder Woman just kicking butt, and she's saying, "What kept you, Steve?" And so they start talking back and forth, some interesting banner. And over here you see Children of the Gods, Part 2, written by James Robinson, a dude who has no idea what he's doing, in my opinion. I like this splash page, really cool looking. And then the story changes all of a sudden to a few hours earlier at Argus Command Center. Believe it or not, this is Steve Trevor. Even though he looks like, some years younger. And this is Dr. Pearl, who's telling them that the corpse right here is Hercules. And Wonder Woman's asked if she knows him, and she says only by reputation. And so they're talking about the corpse here, and this doctor is a little bit concerned. He says, "That's the thing. Ever since Darkseid last fought the Justice League, Argus has been monitoring the energy spikes on Earth of the type we've determined are unique to Apocalypse. So this organization is looking for anything that has to do with Apocalypse so they can stop it." And then the doctor says, This may shed some light. The site of Hercules' demise wasn't the first such location, because he shows them an entire morgue of dead gods, other ones that have already been killed, most likely by Grail. And Wonder Woman seems totally unfazed by this. But, you know, she's not a real big fan of the gods, because they haven't always helped her out when she's needed. So then we go from a few hours earlier back to the current fight, and in a comic book, in most comic books, you know, it'll say now up here at the top somewhere to let the reader know that the story is transferring back to the present. There's nothing like that up here. So we're just, you know, left to presume that this is the same fight that the story opened up with. And, you know, that's pretty easy to guess, because the artwork is the same from the very first page. And so they're still fighting these parademons, and the artwork, I have to admit, is pretty solid. You know, it's nice and bright, and that's what I enjoy about artwork. And I forget what they're talking about, but this is kind of funny. She says, "Firstly, Steve, you're not fat. Figure of speech, Angel. I just meant, and I'm sure you'll save my back. You usually do." You know, they like to joke around. You know, that Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, they're best of buds. They're lovers. They're the type that are going to grow together and be each other's mate for a very long time, I believe. And so then another parademon comes in, tries to attack. I mean, because that guy is one ugly dude. Just look at that face. Wonder Woman is having none of that. So we see the aftermath. Wonder Woman, the badass, is standing there victorious. And Steve is saying, "This is a nice score. Argus Red Room will be happy at least." And Wonder Woman says, "And this certainly doesn't contradict the idea that Grail has something brewing." Because she does. But we're not told what that is just yet. And then here is where the story really gets good, I believe. It says here, Oregon, 3 miles from Elixir. Wonder Woman, yes, that is Wonder Woman in the car with that same lawyer dude who looks like he's from the 1800s. And Wonder Woman says, "I could have flown us here." And he says, "I believe it was Nelson Mandela who said dignity above all else. And if he didn't, he should have. He certainly lived it." And I really like how the artist portrayed her in this scene. I mean, how often is it that you see Women's Day with their hair like that, or even a comic book character with her hair like that? It's very rare. So he goes on to say, "Being carried through the air, dangling like a baby being delivered by a stork. Such a vigorous mode of travel suits neither my temperament nor my tailoring." She says, do you often get clients like this? He says, like Hercules? No, I can say without hesitation this is a one-off. It's something doesn't happen very often. Not to say I haven't had my share of the freakish and depraved, but that just comes from hanging my shingle in Hollywood, of course. And Wonder Woman says, Elixir, ahead, look. Nothing to do with gods and super meal. We're close. So they come upon this house. It's a nice looking, sort of like a cottage in the woods. And he says, what's the matter, Wonder Woman? And she looks at him, and he says, you look sad. I'm Diana, Mr. Hopper. It's time we set aside formalities. Diana, then I'm Blake. I repeat the question, is something wrong? And we listen to her say, seeing Hercules' home, his life, here and now, he was more than just a legend. He was my brother. So, right here, it's apparently established that Hercules was her brother. Okay, that seems weird to me. He says, why did it take you so long to tell me? She says, I wasn't sure I wanted anyone to know. I've heard stories, troubling stories about him. Depending on who you ask, Hercules was either a hero or a violent maniac. And, of course, our world has plenty of those. But the fact remains, we had the same father, Zeus. He was a great lover of women, I know. So how does this guy know this? Yeah, I think there's more to him than meets the eye. And Wonder Woman looks at him and says, I don't think love has much to do with it, but he certainly fathered many children. Some were uniquely empowered, many mortal and equally so. Some lived and died, never knowing the truth of their own existence. And then she kind of looks sad. Let's just say I doubt I'll ever be proven wrong. And she's just, all of a sudden gets kind of quiet there, you can see. And the guy says, well, I have this for you from Hercules. I was instructed to give it to you once you were at his cabin. Your cabin now, I should say. Here. And it's a letter from Hercules. And he opens it by saying, my sister. It's with great pride I have watched your exploits unfold. You are beloved by all. You truly are a wonder. I've thought many times I should let you know of my existence. But my prior actions, more ancient past than recent times, admittedly, now consume me with shame, because he's, he's probably sired many people and many children himself, and not out of love, because that's something which happens in the world. I was not always nice. I was not always good, and I am sorry for those misdeeds and wrongs. I want nothing to do with the past. That past, Hercules of legend, so I hid away like a craven coward. Am I proud of this? No, but it's but it is as it should be. Of that I'm sure. So why are you here? Are you my heir? Firstly, if you are reading this, then I am dead. I hope I died well. But of course he didn't. And he says, I give all to you, Diana. So good, so true, because I can think of no other worthy of my material things. Although material things matter so very little, I know. And he ends the letter by saying, it's knowledge I have, something I swore to keep secret at the behest of I can't pronounce the word too well, the name, who, like I, once rode as crewman on the Ark along with the original Jason. An immortal like I, Glash was given a baby to raise, a boy named after the Argent leader. He, too, is Jason, your heir brother, my brother, too, as you are my sis. And then she says, Jason, my brother, my twin? Myrna, the mother of Grail, she told me of him as she lay dying. I could never be sure if she was lying. One last act of evil. I looked, I tried, but then I got distracted with all that I face here, my life. And that happens, he says. No matter who you are, life is like a jigsaw. But now, you have the missing piece. Keep reading. Oh yeah, I forgot there is more. Hercules says, as I contemplate my death while writing this, I see that secrets are wrong. The truth is all. Of my labors of old, my first, in fact, was slaying the Nemean lion. Look now to it. And of course she does. That's probably the same one that they had her wear on the cover, which was so horrendous. What is it, Diana? I think they're map coordinates. And, she no longer has the invisible jet, so, that's one part of the story that which can never be written back, because they, totally got rid of that. I wish they would put it back in, but I guess somebody figures it's too cheesy. And Hercules says, although we never met, I love you, Diana, sister. Go forth, find your brother, and in doing so, be whole. Something I fear all my years of existence I failed to do. So after that, they go to the Aegean coast here. This is the Aegean coast. I'm not sure if that's a part of Greece or what, because I've never heard of the Aegean coast before. And then again, DC does not always go by actual locations, so what do I know? This may be a totally fictional place. May be similar to Greece, who knows? And the lawyer says to her again, you look sad again, Diana. She says, is it so obvious? This part of the world, the Mediterranean, is where I once thought my home to be, says Diana. The Aegean coast? Really? I thought Themyscira was what she always had the impression was her home. Yeah. Or perhaps not. Honestly, the more I've been away, the more Themyscira seems like a dream. So now she's equating Themyscira with the Aegean coast. This James Robinson really is confusing the heck out of me. And that lawyer says, Island of the Amazons. So she says, it was taken from this plane of existence along with much of what I thought was true and real. I'm not sure I understand, he says. She says, that makes two of us. I'm not sure I understand because, this writer is totally confusing me. And somebody, I guess, maybe recognizes her because there's people following her. And she asked him if he's ever been to this part of the world. And he says, when I was young, interesting to see what's changed and what remains the same. And so they go to they stop by a deli, I think. But come, we've a task at hand. No, this is not a deli. And I've some bratty heirs of a film producer waiting for me back in Los Angeles who require my attention. Let's inquire here. So they want to get information about where this Jason character is. And this woman seems to know. She says, Jason? Oh, he's gone for the day. He'll be back this evening, like always. And then she points him in the direction. And the lawyer says, gone where? Exactly, madame. Where the fish are, of course. And so she points out to the sea. And then Wonder Woman takes off her coat. And she flies out to sea, and I have to admit, of all the parts in this entire issue, this is what I love the most. This page where Wonder Woman sheds her coat, and we see her standing there, strong, but yet her hair is still up in that bun type hairstyle. I think it's really cool. I really do. She says, I'll be back. So those kids recognize her. And so they want her autograph or whatever. And she's flying out among the seagulls. And then she sees a boat. And she meets him. She says, Jason, that is you. Yes, I can feel it. Don't be scared. Nothing wrong. But I have to tell you, I'm my sister! I know, I can feel it too. You found me. And so he's like terribly happy to see her. And it says next reunion. But that's not what the next issue is actually titled. So more on that next review. And oh yes, this is about the Doomsday Clock event that's coming out sometime this month in November. And I'm hoping that'll be really cool. So that was Wonder Woman number 32. It was not much better than issue 31. It wasn't cringy, but it wasn't all-inspiring. Even though it wasn't much better, it was kind of enjoyable in places. The artwork was better. I mean, by far the artwork was better. So that's all. That's it for now, True Readers. I'm Michael for Spirit Comics. Did you like this? Did you like this issue? Did you not like it? Leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to Spirit Comics. Smash that bell like She-Hulk. Like the video and share it. That way you support this channel and help it to grow. Till next time, True Readers.